that didn't end well. I gotta say goodbye. Which mask do I use? Alright, what's up YouTubes? I want to talk to you a little bit about what my current training split looks like and why I'm doing it the way that I'm doing it. But first, I just wanted to share my excitement for Halloween. Truth be told, I've never been to Halloween. Just not my thing, but it's Danny's thing and it's like really her thing. So if you can't beat them, join them, which is why we have like a ridiculous, I mean absolutely ridiculous, like ridiculous assortment of Halloween stuff. It's out of control. This is my life. Anyway, so moving on. My current training split is geared towards bodybuilding. Now I have considered myself a power builder for the last 5 years. My last bodybuilding competition season was in 2015 by design, and decided to switch to powerlifting and doing it competitively, but keeping the focus on bodybuilding. I was actually supposed to compete last year in bodybuilding, and the reason why I decided not to is because I quickly realized that even though I've been both bodybuilding and powerlifting at the same time, as far as my style of training is concerned, I did have to specialize in one over the other when I did it competitively. Meaning when I did powerlifting competitively, I needed to specialize my training for powerlifting, and when I went to switch to specializing my training in bodybuilding, I realized that I needed some time to build up my work capacity in bodybuilding again. And it kind of surprised me, but I realized right away, and I did my best to make a mature and responsible decision to give myself an extra year before I were to start a bodybuilding prep, because I just needed time to build up my work capacity. What I mean by that is my ability to handle more volume. When I say handle more volume, I mean the ability to move more pounds total per workout over time. So, you know, with powerlifting, you know, you pull a single, a double, or a triple with a lot of weight on the bar, but you're sticking to those 3 compound movements and you're also moving fewer total pounds per workout. You can get a lot more work in with accessory work and not doing compound movements for all of your training, which is just bodybuilder style training. How much volume can you do to stimulate muscle hypertrophy or to grow your muscles in size? So rather than give you my whole macro cycle for the past year, I'll just catch you up to speed and let you know what I'm doing right now, because it's basically just getting more and more intense as I get ready for my next competition prep, which will actually start in a couple of weeks, really. So when it comes to bodybuilding, it's all about having a physique that is even and symmetrical. And for me, I am bottom heavy. I naturally have a very developed low body, very developed legs, and that's just my genetics. So what I have been doing is making my training very lopsided and really hitting my upper body hard. And actually, I'm not ignoring my low body as far as training is concerned, but I'm intentionally scaling it back. Now, you would think, why would I want to scale back my training for my lower body if my body can handle it? Well, just because my body can handle more work for my lower body doesn't necessarily mean that I should be putting my efforts there, because if the fatigue that I need to recover from is as a result of doing more lower body training, well, I won't have enough ability to do my upper body training. So basically, I want to say I've cut my volume down as much as half on lower body training, and I've just continued to increase my upper body work. So right now, I would say that I'm primarily focused on building up my arms more than anything, believe it or not, because with powerlifting, despite trying to keep in tricep and bicep work, my arms have just taken a hit. So I've been focused, I would say, predominantly on building my arms up, and there's been a whole lot of work. I'm hitting my arms twice a week right now, and I'm going high volume, which means many sets are above, somewhere between the vicinity of 8 to 17 reps, and more sets on the higher rep range side of things. Same thing goes with shoulders, and to a lesser extent, chest. So essentially, my arms, you know, biceps, triceps, shoulders, those are all working the hardest. Powerlifting did a really good job at building my back up. Now, it didn't quite do as much as it could have for my lats, which is what I really need to develop an X-frame for bodybuilding, but it did do a good job on my lats, and I've also done a very good job honing in on my lats, because it's one of my areas that I've needed to bring up the most. But I've done a good enough job on those where I could actually prioritize my shoulders and my arms more and continue to prioritize my chest. So basically, in a nutshell, I'm hitting my arms twice a week, biceps, triceps, and shoulders. Shoulders I'm actually hitting 3 times a week, and I'm doing everything with higher volume. Meaning, although my rep ranges are anywhere from between 8 to 17 reps, most of them are on the higher side. And for chest, I'm actually benching 3 times a week. Now, here's an interesting factoid. Before bodybuilding, when I was focused more on powerlifting, I was hitting my chest 5 times a week. But a lot of it was technique work because you have those 3 lifts that you have to hit competitively, one of them being the bench press. So I wasn't necessarily getting in volume 5 days a week, but I was practicing my technique on at least 2 out of those 5 days a week. But once again, you can only do so much, right? And frequency isn't necessarily always your friend. So there's been this recent move, I want to say in the last 5 to 7 years, as far as programming theory is concerned, where we started to manipulate frequency and moved away from the bro split of doing, you know, chest one day and arms another day and legs another day, etc., etc. You get the point. There's been a shift towards splitting up the work so that we're hitting body parts more frequently. And I think that that is a phenomenal idea. But like anything else, too much of a good thing is not necessarily a good thing and can actually be hindering progress. So believe it or not, by lowering my bench to 3 days a week as opposed to 5 days a week, I've actually not only seen just as much improvement, but I've actually seen that my bench is wanting to start to move again. So that's just one of those things where you can play around with frequency, but there is a limit to it. And it also matters as far as where you're loading in your fatigue on the whole with your training. So in other words, just because a body part can handle a certain amount of work, if you need to bring up other areas on your body, you may want to lay off that area. So for me, for example, once again with my legs, just because I can handle a certain amount of work doesn't necessarily mean that I should be doing a certain amount of work with my legs. So I scaled that back so I can make room for more upper body training. Right now I'm training about 5 days a week, and workouts are on average about an hour a session. That's really all I need. As long as I'm focused, I'm getting in there and I'm putting the work in, I'm getting out, I really don't need more than say an hour and a half tops to train, and I can get plenty of training in that way. So anyway, that's a little bit of a heads up as far as my goals are concerned right now, what I'm doing with my training, why I'm doing it the way that I'm doing it. And, you know, I should have prefaced everything that I just said from the beginning by saying, do not copy what other people do. Programming is a very individual thing. If you've been training for fewer than 3 years, it doesn't make too much of a difference. Honestly, do anything and your body will most likely grow. Once you've been training for more than 3 years in a row in a goal-oriented way, it starts to become really important for you to program for yourself as an individual and to be really careful to not follow templates or pre-programmed training that's, you know, something you might find on the internet. Think for yourself, think about how you're going to program for yourself and why, and make those adjustments. So you can maybe find the program template online or whatever, but just make sure to cater it to you and to make some adjustments to make sure that it's going to suit your needs as an individual, because everybody's body is different. Anyway, hope you like this video. I'd be really keen on knowing what your training looks like right now and why you're training the way that you're training. And if you have any more specific questions about training, how we program for others, why we program the way that we do, anything training related in general, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below what you'd like us to talk about in regards to training. We tend to geek out a lot on nutrition, but I'd love to geek out a little more on training with you folks as well. So keep me posted. Let me know in the comments what you want us to talk about training-wise, and we'll look to get those videos out. Talk to you soon.